Day 19 started by finishing depositing the yesterday loot in their corresponding storage units. Plus, I placed down the new small backpack in the clothing room in order to be used to store sheets. After that, I went outside in order to have enough light to tear down 2 belts into leather strips and use one in order to change the bandage on my lower torso. Finally, it was time to start the day with a new loot run. On my way toward my truck, I had to deal with a Z near my base parking. After that, I was able to reach my vehicle without encountering any other enemy. As soon as the engine started rolling, I drove past the blue van and reached a new group of buildings I didn't explore in this playthrough yet. I decided to start from the 1-story house to the south and using the kitchen window went inside. This allowed me to find in the first cupboard some glue I can use to repair my tools and an empty hot water bottle to store some drinkable water. On the ground I even found some instant popcorn I could cook later. Next, I went in the bedroom from where I picked up the television to be dismantled later and moved it into my hiking backpack to lose the encumbrance moodle. To finish with this house, I collected a griddle pan left in front of the bedroom window and moved outside. Immediately after I left the building, I noticed that to the west there was a decent group of zombies to fight. One of them chased me immediately, and he had something interesting planted in his back. After defeating him, I found out that it was a carving fork I collected. The noise made 2 more react and join the fight. They were spread out, and this allowed me to kill them easily. One of them even had some matches for me. The rest of the group wasn't interested in fighting, so I moved to the south, where I saw another enemy walking toward my direction. Killing him forced 2 of the larger group to seek vengeance. After killing the first, I was pleased to collect his fanny pack, considering that inside there was a car key. I had no time to check that key that I had to deal with the second incoming from the west and the third one from the south. After defeating a bonus one that reached my location from the south, finally I was able to drop the fanny pack only to find out that the key is of a Chevalier dart. I bet that it belongs to the one in decent conditions I inspected previously near the convenience store. For this reason, I killed the 2 remaining of the group and moved toward the convenience store in order to start clearing it from zombies. I guided the closest one away from the road and killed him easily, then decided to deal with the fast one incoming from the northwest. My quick reaction allowed me to push down the third that tried to grab me, followed by the 4th incoming from the same direction. Next, after pushing away the 5th that joined the fight, I used the opening in order to kill one on the ground. After dodging the next grab, I turned around and pushed to the ground the other 2, and after a few hits, both of them was dead. Seconds after, I found myself dealing with another one that came from the west and the last one from the south. Finally, I had some moments to loot for useful items, the corpses of just defeated enemies. Once I was done, it was time to move closer to the convenience store. On my way there, near the light pole, I had to deal with 3 Zeds that wanted to end my life. But I used the reverse Uno card and dropped them instead. Finally, my way toward the dart was clear, and to my pleasure I soon found out that the key collected before actually belongs to this car. Despite it had some fuel in it, its battery was dead. Double checking its condition, I found out that actually is in average conditions, but is fully discharged. Soon after, I heard more incoming from the southwest. It was a group of 4 walking along the metal fence. The first was hard to push down and even was able to absorb 1 hit of my weapon before I had to push away the second. Once this last one was down, I finished the first and tried to deal with the second. Unfortunately, I missed because he was fast to get back on its feet. This forced me to retreat, considering that a newcomer joined the fight. One of them was fast on his pursuit, allowing me to deal with him swiftly. Same can also be said about the other 2 that came soon after. The rest of the group was too close to each other's. But this didn't stop me from killing the fastest one, breaking my machete. At this point I had to retreat in order to have time to switch to my lead pipe, only to turn around and use it to finish the next 2. At this point there was 4 in close proximity. To avoid risking it, I decided that it was wise to retreat a little. This allowed me to isolate and deal with the fastest one. After going further back, I tried to deal with the second, but failed because the rest of the group was too fast. Thankfully, I noticed to the north the one-story building I looted before. So I opened its bathroom window and climbed inside. After one-shotting the first two, I closed the door to avoid being surrounded. Seconds after I defeated the last three, one of them even had a riding helmet that I could use for protection if I could survive till summer. Considering that I fought for too long, I decided to sit on the ground to recover my forces, but was interrupted by an unwelcomed visitor that broke in through the bathroom window. Finally, I had more time to rest and eat some beef jerky. Soon after, I heard someone banging on the bedroom window. This forced me to break it in order to let the Zed to get inside and die by my hand. After that, I sat on the bed and was able to read in peace the recipe that teaches how to make biscuits. Later, checking the building's surrounding, I found and killed a zombie that was under shock, admiring his dead friends in the bathroom. My evil actions summoned a new group to the west, and after killing the first, I climbed back inside the bathroom of my temporary base. All three followed me only to be added to the corpses pile. Once done, I went outside and changed my torso bandage while checking if there was any left behind. I heard one enemy inside the trees, but considering he was stuck there, I turned to the left and dealt with another incoming from that direction, followed by the second that came from the south. After taking his belt and watch, it was time to address the other two. I saw to the right. To avoid being cornered between the trees, I ran closer to the farthest one, and after killing him, I finished the second as well. My surroundings finally became quiet, but I suspected that there were a few more near the bathroom window, and I was right. After killing the first that noticed my presence, I carefully approached the one between the trees. After killing him, I took his belt and moved away from the tree line to safely deal with a newcomer. At this point, I double-checked the just killed enemies for some loot before going back to the road. Here I found a Zed that was sleeping on the job, so I woke him up with a bonk on the head with my pipe. Immediately after, I dropped two more that came to his aid. Time to take a belt that another wanted to die, and as generous as I am, I made his dream come true. At this point, I wanted to check the house behind the convenience store. Once I was close enough, a Zed climbed through the window, only to see a lead pipe smashing his head. Seconds after, I noticed another wanderer along the metal fence that I dealt with swiftly. I wasn't feeling safe to get inside the house yet. Instead, I decided to check the entrance to the convenience store. This allowed me to notice a new group there and another one near the one-story building on the other side of the road. One member of the convenience store group wanted to fight. I was able to deal with him in time, before I had to react to another troublemaker sneaking behind. After that, two more started to push, plus I noticed a third incoming from the house location. I decided to defeat the last one first. After turning around, I found out that only one kept following me. Once dead, a second one joined the fight, and a few moments after the third followed suit. I killed the last one in time to push away the fourth that went for a grab and punished him for his cowardly actions. After checking the new graveyard for some loot, I moved toward the last two in front of the convenience store. I pushed the first to wake him up and made him follow me closer to the building in order to kill him safely. Seconds after, I did the same to the other one. At this point was time to walk back in order to deal with a slow one near the light pole. The noise pulled three from the one-story building group. The first two were fast. This allowed me to push them to the ground and kill them both before I had to address the third. Later, I aggroed the fourth of the group and noticed that he was impaled by a strange weapon. While retreating, I caught the interest of two extra Zeds, but I defeated them in time before fighting the one with the curious weapon in his body that I soon found out to be a fireplace poker in average conditions. After taking it, I noticed a newcomer that appeared in the parking lot that I disposed of quickly and took his belt for my trouble. While taking a moment to loot the other corpses, another Zed decided to attack me from the east. Killing this one made me out of breath, but at least he had a paring knife to loot. After that, I tried to get inside the store but found myself surrounded. Killing the first troublemaker allowed me to loot a kitchen knife. Immediately after, to avoid aggro more to the fight location, I decided that was wise of me to retreat to the other side of the road, closer to the one-story house. This allowed me to kill the fast one, then to force the second to chase me, and moving closer to the house I disposed of him safely. But he was taking several hits to die, forcing me to push down the next before I could keep hitting him. To prevent the second to get up, I moved closer to him to give him a bonk, but the other one was too fast to get back on his feet. So after a short retreat, I pushed them back to the ground, but killing one of them messed up with my positioning, giving enough time for the other to get back on his feet. Finally, after pushing him back to the ground, I was able to finish this one as well with 2 stomps, just in time before I had to give the same treatment to a newcomer. Once dead, I found out that there was 2 more incoming from the south. The first was fast and died quickly, and I had no issues to deal with the slower one as well. I had no time to think what to do next that another one emerged from behind the trees. Finally, after granting peace to this one, there was no more incoming, allowing me to loot the corpse's pile. Once I was done, I went inside the house, and while sitting on the bed, I read the recipe that teaches how to prepare an onigiri. Despite I recovered my breath, I became tired. So I spent a few minutes to read also the schematic that explains how to make barbed wire wrap weapons. After dropping the just read magazines, I went back to my car only to deposit the new loot into its trunk. Later, I decided to go back to the convenience store. On my way there, I found a new group on the other side of the road. Carefully, I was able to aggro only one of them and killed him swiftly. Taking a few steps forward, finally caught the attention of the second, but he was really slow. For this reason, I went closer to force his chase animation. This allowed me to kill him faster. Doing so gave a reason to the third to join the fight. Thankfully, he was slow as well, and once I was ready, I took him out. To not waste more time for the last one, I crossed the road and dealt with him there. Finally, it seems that my surroundings were clear. This is why I went inside the convenience store, and while double-checking for some loot, all the storage units, I reached the backyard. It seems to be somewhat clear, beside the solitary enemy that I defeated near the fence. While looting him, I disabled the alarm on the digital watch. Moments after, a Zed climbed through the house window. I was quick enough to react and kill him before he was able to stand back up. But this gave time to a second one to climb through the other window and start moving toward my location. Dealing with this one increased my tiredness level. It was starting to becoming dangerous to keep fighting, considering that the next one that climbed through the window took 5 stomps to die. This even made me out of breath again. From behind, a Zed tried to ambush me, but I was able to kill him in time before addressing another one that just climbed through the house window. Thankfully, it took only 1 push to fall to the ground, but still required several stomps to die. Despite at my limits, I went for another fight close to the building area. Mainly because I was curious to see what loot is inside the crates, only to find out that there was just some planks I don't need right now. Next, the radio on the table had an empty battery, but I still collected that radio to be dismantled later. Plus, in the trash bin I found a violin. A really bad weapon, but hey, this is CDDA, I can't complain. After that, I checked the shed and found some sleeping pills and a good literature to loot from one of the cupboards. After that, I remembered that I cannot make those crates until I reach carpentry level 7. For this reason, I went back, removed all the planks stored inside and picked them up. But I was interrupted by a Zed that wanted me to stop stealing others' stuff. I had to push him 2 times to make him fall and a dozen stomps to kill him. After that, I disabled the alarm on his watch and had to fight his friend. This one was able to tank more stomps, and I became both extremely tired and exhausted. For this reason, after collecting 2 extra crates, I moved to the house bedroom. Despite it was quite dangerous to sleep with no doors and windows, I still decided to risk it and went to bed, because I stand no chance to fight any more Zeds without a good night rest.